Gathering is an important part of our culture. We learn a lot about our own culture and traditions from our elders. Gathering is one of the things that have been passed down through generations. Elders talked about how gathering was fun like an adventure. It is important for us to learn these stories and traditions so that we stay connected and so that we can pass it on to future generations. It was important to talk to our elders before we started gathering because this is where we learned about gathering and where gathering traditions came from. It feels good having the knowledge that my family generations before me knew, and it feels even better knowing that I will be able to pass on our traditions to my future children and future grandchildren. They taught us the importance of timing. Gathering during the right time of year. When I went to summer camp, there was an elder that taught us how to gather rocks to make acorn soup, and she told us how to tell the rocks apart by throwing them against a big rock, and if they break, they're not the right ones. They taught us how to gather and how to know what to look for. They taught us not to waste anything and to take only what is needed. And there were many stories that came with gathering. Not all of them were about gathering, but we enjoy hearing these stories and learning about the old times. It felt good listening to the elders. They really want to share their stories, and I am glad I had a chance to listen to them. We learned the different uses for the plants that were gathered. We also learned that while gathering, it's important to be pure. For example, abstaining from sex, drugs, and alcohol. It's also important to have good thoughts. Positive thoughts are important because it brings good energy to what you are gathering. To be sure our thoughts are good, we often pray and we give thanks as we gather. Songs are also a part of gathering. There are specific songs just for gathering, or sometimes a song will just come to you while you gather. Gathering is important. It is one of the ways of carrying on traditions. We don't want the knowledge to skip generations. There was a time when such knowledge was almost lost. I like to learn from my grandparents who were raised by their grandparents. Our grandparents were raised before genocide and they had to hide their traditions, so they couldn't teach their children. Most of our parents were raised in a modern way, but our grandparents were raised in the old way, and now they can teach their grandchildren. Gathering helps maintain the balance between animals, plants, and people, and is one way that we fulfill our roles and responsibilities as caretakers of the land. Gathering not only strengthens your culture, but also your body. You exercise by walking up hills and down the hills, and you pack out what you've gathered. It is important that we protect our rights to gather so that our traditions can be carried on and taught to our future generations. I never had my mom or grandparents teach me. I always went to my aunt or great aunt because they were both born and raised before modern times. If I have questions, I'll sit for an hour or two with them and they tell me stories. Whenever I can get information about gathering or fishing traditions, I always sit down and talk with them because they're always willing to tell me. The knowledge we gain from our elders will be shared with our family, with our younger siblings and cousins, with the friends who want to learn how to gather respectfully, and eventually our own children. I am happy we talked to our elders because it was directly from them to us, and one day we will pass this on to our kids. The importance of passing on traditions is strongly voiced. When I have kids, I'm going to teach them about gathering. We hope that the knowledge that we gain through this project will inspire you to learn more knowledge about your culture.